Good afternoon, friends. I hope it is well with you in body, mind, spirit, and soul. On this Wednesday, September the 2nd or 3rd. It's Wednesday anyway. We are looking forward to Labor Day. Even during this time of pandemic, we still celebrate, and it's important to celebrate our holidays, including our national ones. We think during this time of the place of work in our lives, and that's what I'm focusing on this Sunday as well. And I'm reminded of that wonderful phrase from Fred Buechner, who says, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet." Isn't that wonderful? God calls us to that place, and we are to find joy and satisfaction in our work. Some of us find that perhaps readily in what we do for a living, or our primary work that earns us our living, I should say, but not always. And we are called as followers of Jesus to find and exercise that particular work, gift, talent that brings joy to the world, that brings help and joy, that respects others in their time of need, that helps us to be neighborly. And that takes many forms. You know, the Apostle Paul talks about how we have many different gifts and ways of serving, and we are to find our joy in exercising that particular labor of love that brings help, that brings joy to others. We can get even more down to earth in Ecclesiastes when he says, "There's nothing new under the sun. Why not find joy in your toil?" That's where you find it, even in the day-to-day work that we're given to do that may not seem all that exciting, but I found, he says, as an old man looking back, that's where it's found. So we give thanks for our work. We give thanks for the many ways God calls us to use this talent, this life, these gifts that we have in order to invest and bring joy into the world, to find our joy through that, to find our labor of love. I did want to mention that we have been in our church participating for many, many years in Backpack Buddies, and during the summer, the way we distribute food for students who might be helped by that food put in their backpacks to take home on weekends and other times is a little different. And now that we've moved into the school year, we're going to resume the kind of schedule we are accustomed to during that time, and that is loading up for giving the food out, loading up, bagging up the food on Thursday morning. And we're going to do that at East Campus at 8 o'clock. And those of you who may have been involved in that before or who would like to again, there's plenty of space there at East Campus to help bag up that food so it can be taken to school to be distributed to those kids who greatly benefit from it. We so appreciate all who support and help in that. I am always kind of brought back to that down-to-earth, sage kind of feeling when I read the book of Ecclesiastes. So let me just kind of conclude by quoting you a few verses of that as we reflect on work and what it means to engage in our labor of love and whatever that looks like in our lives. Ecclesiastes says, "There's nothing better for mortals than to eat and drink and find enjoyment in their toil." He also says, among other things, in other places, "There's nothing new under the sun. All is vanity." He also says, looking back, a lot of my toil I hated when I toiled under the sun. In a very wistful way, he's looking back at all this. And he says finally, "And who knows whether they will be wise or foolish, yet they will be master, these who carry on my work and toil after I'm gone. For all that I have toiled, this is vanity as well." Finally, he says, "There's nothing better for mortals than to eat and drink and find enjoyment in their toil." And it occurs to me, and I'm sure it has to you, that one of the greatest blessings in life, perhaps reserved for many fortunate ones who can go to work and find enjoyment, even in their daily work, making a living. But whether it's that or the other work in which we are engaged, to find enjoyment in our work and labor, that sometimes seems like an elusive blessing, but doesn't have to be. And we want to talk about and reflect on that more as we celebrate this Labor Day weekend, what that means. I know many of you engage in your labor of love, and whatever that looks like in your daily lives, celebrate that. We give thanks for that. It's a part of what it means to be made in God's image. The labor of love that God calls us to, of course, builds up other people, builds up God's world, doesn't tear it down, helps others to know the true dignity and strength of being God's children in the world. God bless you as we look toward Labor Day weekend. Reminder that we now at St. Paul have 2 in-person services here at downtown at 9 a.m., at East Campus at 11:11, as we also continue our recorded stream services, beginning downtown service beginning 8:30 at youtube.stpaulos.org, and then live at 11:11 on Facebook and YouTube. God bless you this week. Let us hear from you in your time of need and celebration. Amen.